We're here with Jen Malik, the Granville Brewing Company, Stand Ridge Speed cyclocross racer, and we're at day 2 at GP Gloucester. Day 1, Jen had a back row start and fought her way to a very, very well-earned 40th place. Jen, tell us a little bit about that race and what it took to move up that far.
Well, at first I got really pumped that we got to actually draw our numbers. I'm thinking like, sweet, and only to find out I drew the 5th to last number. So starting from the back was interesting, especially in the largest field I've ever raced in. But I had a good start and was able to find a hole and work my way up, and then just had to really pick and choose when the smart time to pass people was, because it's a course that it's not terrible, but if you mess up, it's very punishing. And so there was one turn I got pinched off at and lost about 20 spots, and then was able to work my way back up and finish 40, which I'm happy with in such a deep field.
So we traveled about 12 hours to get here. Talk about what traveling that amount of distance is with your support crew and all your gear, and what it takes.
So first of all, the traveling part, I'm so thankful to have Chris be able to just drive me everywhere we go, because that allows me to sleep in the car. So that kind of stinks for him for no company, but the fact that both Chris and Katsu are taking time out of their schedule and just doing this for the love of cyclocross and trying to help me out is amazing. In Vegas, I actually kind of got a taste of what it was like to not have them there, and I was stressed out. My race didn't go smooth because I had to do a lot of running around and a lot of the stuff that they take care of behind the scenes that I don't necessarily have to worry about. So the drive, while albeit long, everyone seems to be in good spirits. And then, I mean, like this week for Holy Week, Chris and I drove out and are going to be staying out here, and then Katsu flew to Gloucester, and then it's going to fly back after the race today, and then he's going to fly back out for the Providence race. And I'm sure that's not easy, especially with a real job, and he's not in grad school like I am. I can't just tell his advisor, by the way, I'm not going to be here for a week and a half. So I'm just so thankful for them, and honestly would not be able to do as well as I do without them here, making my life so much easier.
So this is your first year on the UCI cyclocross circuit. Talk about what it means to get your first look at some of these courses like Gloucester, Providence, Ellison Park, courses that you're going to be able to race again with more confidence. Talk about your first experiences.
They were a little intimidating at first. Ellison with the heat and just a lot of climbing, which I've never been on a course like that. But after riding it and warm up, I felt really confident, and it was really exciting to be able to ride courses that were challenging and pushed me to my limits and tested me. And out here, I'm not used to this silty sand. We don't have that back at home, so it's really just forcing me to develop my skills as a rider and get a wider set of riding skills that hopefully next year I can hone in on and really just improve myself.
So we just finished up day 2 of GP Gloucester. Jen, you had the last row start today again, and this time the result though was 32nd. You had one of the best starts of your life. Talk about the difference between yesterday and today, and give us an overview of how your race went.
Well, yeah, 3rd to last starting spot, so that was always nice, but I knew that since it was a start on a little bit steeper incline than yesterday, that the field would probably spread out a bit, and so I was just being hyper attentive to where holes were, and climbing's my strength, so I knew I just dug in a little bit, made a bigger effort, and managed to get up there. And then I also knew there was this almost weird turn that you could get pinched off at, more so than yesterday, so made sure that I wasn't in the way and didn't get on that inside part, and just kept my arms out and held my line. So that was a huge help. Another thing I think that really helped in the race was during the SRAM chicane section. I knew a lot of people would be going down, especially since I was in the middle of the race, and so I was ready to get off my bike and run, and I ended up, I think, gaining like 10, 15 spots just running through that section and passing people bobbling on their bike, and then remounted and just put in a really hard effort to secure that gap. So it was, once again, my bike's held up, and this is definitely more extreme conditions than they've seen in Ohio, so they're loving them on the rocks and the sand, and I mean, just technically I can throw them around, which was a huge help, especially when you have people that have been doing these courses forever, and to be able to compete on the same level with them in terms of technical skills is great.
Cool.
So this week we're going to be here on the East Coast. Talk about your midweek plans and then what's on tap for next weekend.
Well, I was supposed to have a really hard training block Wednesday, but instead my hard training block is going to be my first ever night race at Night Weasels. There's going to be some really intense competition there. I've heard Katarina Nash and Magali Rochette are going to be there, so it's going to be fun. And of course, being my first night race, it'll be good to do it on a little bit lower key than getting thrown in my first UCI night race and being stomped. And then looking forward to part 2 of Holy Week in Providence. So it's a pretty intense week, but definitely looking forward to it.
We're here with Jen Malik, and we're going to talk about some Novatech wheels and how they help you on the race course and what it means to you to ride Novatech.
Well, first of all, I have to say props to Novatech, because especially on courses like this where you have lots of rocks, lots of people, you're going to hit them. It was my first experience basically abusing the wheels, and you know, they held up great. They're light, carbon. I mean, there were times I just hear the thunk, but they're held up fantastic, and never had to worry about when I was riding, you know, is my wheel gonna break? I just got to focus on riding a really hard race, and if I got pushed into a line I didn't want to be in, I didn't have to think about, is my bike gonna fail? It was, how can I beat this girl who just tried to take my line?